Welcome to Behind the Title, a series that goes
Sorry?
beyond. Welcome to Behind the Title, a series that goes beyond titles and designations, where we talk about raw and real leadership. And today, on our episode, we have Brigadier Sushil Bhasin. So, behind every 12 lakh Indians, salute to you, sir. Behind every 12 lakh Indians stands one brigadier who carries the responsibility of leadership and service. Sir has led soldiers and later he has coached CXOs. He has been on TEDx 5 times. He has spoken in more than 10 countries. He is the author of 6 best-selling books. And let me just say, from strategy under fire to clarity in boardrooms. Let's welcome Brigadier Sushil Bhasin. So glad to see you here, sir. Highly delighted that you are on the show.
Thank you very much, Upanshu, for inviting me. And I am highly honored and happy to be here today.
Thank you
Come
so
on
much.
Instagram after a long time. I used to do a live every week, but now it's taken me a little time to get adjusted to it.
Okay. So let's go back
So
to the
can you hear
time,
me
sir.
well? I just want to check. Can you hear me well?
Yes, it's everything is audible. It's perfect, sir.
Oh, okay.
Sir, let's go back to the time. So before the uniform and before the title,
Hmm.
we all want to know
Hmm.
how was that little boy? And what happened in that one moment that made you join the Indian Army, which you have served for 38 years? So please, sir, let us all know.
So, firstly, I need to thank God for giving me Shimla as a place where I was born and brought up. I don't think there's a place on the earth which is better than Shimla for a growing child. Beautiful weather, lovely terrain, fresh air, everything that you can ask for was there. Shimla used to be the summer capital of India during the British days. So it has this town, that time a small town, had no vehicles. There was no pollution. There was no sound pollution. There was no smoke anywhere. It was a heaven on earth. And that's where I was growing up. So I joined a school called Loreto Convent. And just a little thing I can never forget about this school. When I finally told my father, please get me out of this school. I want to go to a boys' school because this was a co-ed. And in my class 5, I was the only boy in a class of 19. 18 were girls and they bullied me. For many years, I was scared to even talk to a girl because of the fear of facing girls that I developed there. Anyway, so then I joined St. Edward's, a boys' school. And so, talking about my younger days, so there were no vehicles, you had to walk to your school. So, with our bags, 2 brothers walking to the school. And on the same road, ahead of the school was the Western Command headquarters. And we
Oh,
would see a few very smart officers in small groups of 4, 5 walking together. No, sorry, not walking, marching on that road towards the command headquarters. This tiny little mind of mine, I started looking up to them and said, hey God, can I be like one of them one day? And mind you, in none of my 8 to 9 generations have I known of any person in my family who had ever been in the army. So with knowing nothing about the army, just the glamour of the uniform, the smart officers, there was a desire building up in my mind that I want to join the army. Rest is a long story, but I'll just cut it short by saying that manifestation, and when I later on in life learned manifestation, I realized that this I'd manifested at the age of 5 that I'm going to join the army. And at the age of 10, something happened, long story, that I applied for Sainik School Kapurthala without asking my father, and my grandfather helped me. And I landed up in Sainik School Kapurthala. I got selected. And that in class 7, I joined Sainik School Kapurthala, where I started wearing khaki uniform at the age of 10. I was getting up in the morning at 5:30, going for PT, drill, everything that the army had to later on shape me as a disciplined fellow. That started happening at the age of 10. So that is how I got my manifestation
Wow, this is the
visualized.
power of manifestation.
Oh yes, I can vouch for that.
So you have been 38 years in army. Yes, sir. And like today, every professional, they have one hard day, right? So you must also have felt that during your military days. How did you deal with it, sir?
Deal with what hard days.
Any one incident which happened, how did you deal with it, and what kind of leadership lesson it has taught to you?
So let me break this down into three parts. One is that my life became focused on like blinkers only to the army. I didn't have a plan B. And when I had to appear for the NDA exam, and I appeared for the NDA exam from my school in the third batch. So that means there were only two batches, and people used to look upon somebody who's going to get through the NDA exam. Now, I was a little underage and I could not appear with my classmates. So I appeared 6 months later. So some of my classmates had already joined the NDA and I was now going for the second time. So starting from my first eligible age or attempt, which means I had five chances. And I
Okay.
told myself I can't fail five times. No way. No way can I fail in the UPS exam in the five times. So I was very sure I'll go to the army and never thought of another career. But I got through my very first chance, went to Meerut to appear for the selection board. That is a second filter where most of the people get rejected. And for whatever reasons, out of 36 people in our batch, 11 got selected, and I was one of them. I came out of the hall when the results were announced. I ran to the post office. That was the only source of communication that time. There were no phones and everything. So I gave a telegram to my school and to my home. Selected. That's it. It,
Wonderful.
it was probably the happiest day of my life. But that remained only for one day. The next day, when we went for the medical exam, I never had bothered about that. I was a cross country runner and I was physically fit, and the school was doing a medical exam every year, annual medical exam plus regular medical checkups. The question of not getting through in the medical was not even dreamt of. But one doctor there, who was later on known to be crazy for rejecting people, I got permanently rejected. And imagine that all those five chances came down crumbling into zero chance now. I came out of the hall. First, I howled at that major, whoever he was. And I said, "What the hell are you rejecting me for?" He said, "You will not be able to run." I said, "You make everyone run with me right now. And if I don't stand in the first five in this group of 30, reject me." He said, "No, it's not now, but later on you will not be able to." And I'm telling you, after 38 years of serving in the army, till recently when I had a problem with my knee, I was running. That's that whatever wise man who he was rejecting people for no reasons. Anyway, long story short, crying that my world had come to a standstill. My cousin came to pick me up. He was very upset seeing me so upset. So he said, let me do something about it. And he knew a colonel in the army who was a doctor in the base hospital in Delhi. They fixed up an appointment. I went to him. He got me checked up. And the medical specialist who checked me up, when he told them, सर इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है सर ये पॉलीवॉल का विक्टिम है दैट मेजर पॉलीवॉल वाज द guy who had rejected me. So then that colonel sat down, whom I knew. I still remember his name, Colonel Rama Rao. And he said, this major will explain to you. He'll give you a form. Fill it up right now. There's an appeal medical board. You appear for the appeal medical board. I appeared and I got a call to reappear in the medical exam, and it was in the same hospital. And that was luck. And when I came back, the same medical specialist had to examine me, and he had already examined me. So I got selected. And then I finally went to NDA in the same first job, which means I got commissioned at the age of 19 years dot. Exact age on the date of my commission was 19 years and 12 days. In that time, I was a commissioned officer. When people are still are still struggling in college, I was already a commissioned officer at the age of 19. So that gave me a lot of unfair advantage all my life because it matters a lot later in life. So now when you're talking of hardships, I can tell you one thing. The journey from those days till the time I served the army. So I also want to clarify. Normally, when we say how much service you say I served the army for 34 years. But the 4 years of NDA and IMA, which I include when I say I've got military leadership experience, those 4 years were actually more of a leadership lab where you learned leadership every single day. You lived it. You were not taught. There were no classes. There were no classes. Nobody taught you leadership as a subject. It was not a classroom job, but you lived it. And that was probably the best foundational leadership lessons I learned. It was there that when we used to be punished a lot. So India is known, at least boys would know very well, अब तो लड़कियां भी जा रही हैं, but that time it was only boys. And they used to रगड़ा लगेगा, बहुत रगड़ा लगेगा. That was the term used. So you went prepared from a sense school कि बहुत रगड़ा लगेगा. There'll be physical ragging, punishments, all that. In the very first 2 3 days, I'm told, or we are told rather, that we all in the morning there's a muster call in something like a school assembly where you're given your instructions and all, and you go out for your duties in the day. Everyone has a cycle. So you have to cycle your way through to various places. Somebody could be having horse riding as a class, and somebody could be having swimming, and somebody PT, and somebody drill, and whatever. You have to go. And 9 o'clock you'll come back, 8 o'clock, bath and change, and then 9 o'clock you get into academic classes. So one day, one chap got late out of 30 people in a batch that we were in a squad. And the sergeant major, we used to call him CSM, Cadet Sergeant Major. He just started howling. Why are you late? So this one person was late. He said, Sir, why are you late? Sir, but why are you late? He won't listen a word, but he would keep repeating that, and every time he got louder. And then he says, guys, I've taught you for 1 week how to respect time, and you haven't learned that. So today you come at 1:30 in riding rig Bajri order, and I will teach you in that heat what time management means. Now, what is riding rig Bajri order? That if you have ever worn a chudidar, you would know that the lower portion is absolutely sticking to your leg. So
Yes.
that is how breeches, if you've seen breeches, so you wear breeches which are up to half your lower leg, and then around from your boots you start rolling a patti. It is a it is a 3 inches wide woolen tape like a thing, and every layer has to be 1 inch apart, which is measured. So when they check your turnout, they check that and all that. So you wear your complete uniform, then you have a pack here, and in the pack you put bajri. Bajri is like small gravel stones or whatever.
Yes.
And that almost weighs about 15 kgs. So you're carrying that weight on your back. And then you have a cycle, which is your companion, and you hold the cycle like this into the air. And you have to be standing there at this position at 1:30. The way I explained to you, this would take almost half an hour to wear this. And 1 o'clock is lunch, and he has called us at 1:30. So lunch is gone. So when we went for classes, one of the instructors said, he was a Hindi instructor, by the way, a very lenient chap. ये क्या हो गया तुम्हें इतने बड़े इतने क्या बोलते हैं इतना मोरल डाउन है वही लुकिंग सो morose. So I was the one who stood up and I said, सर ये हमारे सीनियर्स का दिमाग नहीं है क्या? उनको अकल नहीं है, देख नहीं रहे कि कौन लेट आया है, उसको पनिश करो ना, हमें क्यों कर रहे हो? मैं तो 5 मिनट पहले आया था, तो मेरे को 5 मिनट पहले आने का क्या फायदा है कि सजा मेरे को भी मिल रही है? And he said something, Upanshu, I've never been able to forget. And I teach that in my time management programs or my team building programs. Sorry. He said, कोई आया था तुम्हारे घर में तुम्हें बुलाने के लिए कि प्लीज एनडीए में आ जाओ? You have voluntarily joined an organization which does not believe in any individuality. There's no I in the army, it's we. And then he said something which is very strong. Just listen to this carefully. एक दुश्मन का सेक्शन जिसमें 10 लोग होते हैं, उनको नष्ट करने के लिए एक प्लेटून चाहिए 30 लोग. Then he said, it is not 30 people. It's a well-trained, cohesive team of 30 people that is required to capture one section post of 10 people of the enemy. And he says, from today onwards, every place you will be taught that I don't matter, we matter. So कल जब आप आएंगे सुबह, तो आप अपने आप को लेके आके नहीं बोलेंगे कि मैं तो आ गया. आपसे पूछा जाएगा आपके साथी कहाँ हैं, उनको क्यों नहीं लेके आए साहब? So you will wake up those people who are not there. If they are not sleeping, you will throw a bucket of water on his face and wake him up. But tomorrow you will be your 30 people because you are taught this. Can there be a better way of teaching somebody respecting time, teamwork, and all that? And we have learned it that way, every single thing. So then, when you talked of hardships, there were hardships all along. I went and joined the infantry. I had a problem with my back. Then I was downgraded. I shifted from infantry to ASC. There were ups and downs, roller coaster, but everything was wonderful. It was a journey that I will never forget and never regret. Never.
Lovely, sir. You know, when I started this live, so I just inquired the audience, and from that inquiry, I got a question which I am reading it out to you. So, in our audience, there is a 24-year-old boy who is watching this right now. It's his first job, he is not happy, and he's confused.
And
What
yes,
confused? What he should do. Now, in one single line, what will you say to him out of your experience and expertise?
so everything is decided here. The 6 inches above your head is your thought factory. And whatever you think here, the body behaves like that. So if you are not happy, ask yourself why I am not happy. And to be happy, do what you love to do. Now, this can't be answered in one line or 1 minute or even 1 hour. But
True, sir.
all I can say is that I've written a book called Design Your Life, and this book has got converted into a podcast called Zindagi Unplugged on Spotify. It is for free. Go and listen to that podcast. Episode number 1, where we start, that episode is called Lost and Looking for Direction. Because today I found, and that is how we started that podcast, that today's youth is thoroughly confused because they got too many options and they don't know where to start. And this 20 minutes episode will tell you exactly what to do when you are confused and learn the direction of your life.
Wonderful, sir. I would share across that link to him personally also.
Oh, thank you.
So, I would like to share to the Instagram family that Sir has written 6 books. And his first book, the name of that book is something very attractive, and it is something which you will learn a lot from that book. The name itself is $1 Million Second. And the story of Kazakhstan, from where this thing happened. Sir, could you please tell the audience about it and what happened when you wrote $1 Million Second?
So, one thing for sure, that right, the story that I told you about being punished for being late,
Yes,
we understood the value of time very well.
yes.
Will you believe it? And there's a TEDx talk on this. My first TEDx talk was what the army taught me about time. And I've given that story there, that in the morning, you would tell your orderly the night before कि कल मेरे को 5:37 पे उठाना, because you understood that you were so starved of sleep that you didn't want to miss a minute of sleep. And you calculated backwards and you know exactly how much time I'm going to take to get ready. So I should not wake up earlier and keep sitting for 10 minutes to wait that it's time for muster. And one day when he came and woke me up and I saw the time, he was 4 minutes before time. And I yelled at him कि तूने मेरे 4 मिनट की नींद खराब कर दी. That was the value of time we learned. Why? Because everything was happening clockwork precision. You have to get up on time, you have to sleep on time. Now, when you must have gone to college, you could study anytime, no? You
Yes,
want to study early in the morning, you want to study late at night, you could do it. But we had the whole day's routine. You After our classes, after lunch, there was 1 hour of rest, after which you could never sleep in that rest. That rest was supposed to be a change of state of mind. So you had to open your cabin doors. We all got a single room to live in. So the doors are open so that people are supervising, they are walking up and down. So you could be reading a storybook, you could be listening to some music. Sorry, you're not allowed transistor, there was no music anywhere. So you could be reading something, you could be writing a letter. So it was not called rest, it was called OTW, time work. Okay. And nobody stopped you, but you were discouraged from studying or doing any academic homework or something. Then you went for games. When you came from games, it was the bath and change time. So you had a cup of tea, which was served in the spot in itself, and then you had a bath and you got ready for the evening. So there were different dresses. We had about 16 uniforms in NDA. So you
okay.
got into the dinner uniform, and then at 6:30 or 7 sometime, there used to be a study period. Now you got 1 hour 30 minutes to study. That's it. You have to pass 14 subjects. I went to India thinking I'll get rid of studies. There was nothing like that. We in college you would have studied 5 or 6 subjects. We were studying 14 subjects. Okay. You have to pass in all of them. You couldn't afford to fail in any one. You were relegated to another term and things like that. So You study on that 1.5 hours, then you have dinner, you go for dinner, you come back, and after about half an hour, 1 hour, when you prepared for the next day's um, dress and all that, brasso and polishing your shoes and all that, then you would be now prepared to sleep. 10 o'clock, I think, or whatever time would be lights off. Now you can't have a lights on after that. Whether you have exams the next day or not, 1.5 hours of study. You have not lived a life like that. That you have to study in a limited period of time, compete with other people, pass all your exams, do so much of hard work, so much of physical work, mental pressure, emotional pressure. You know, the ragging was all, they'll abuse you. Come here, Joker. Which place do you disgrace? These are the type of questions asked. And they would ask you embarrassing things and all. That was emotional. They'll break you down emotionally. They'll break you physically. Test you. You were going through a very hard test. Okay. And they used to say one simple thing. The NDA is a factory which turns ordinary boys into outstanding gentlemen.
Lovely, sir. I'm
Sorry?
having goosebumps when I'm hearing this out. So I
Yeah.
can imagine what does the Instagram family must be feeling about.
Yeah. So if somebody asks me what is the best thing that happened in your life, I say NDA.
Lovely. And after this serving for 38 years, more than 3 decades, and you shifted into the corporate world, to the
But before I
boardrooms.
come to the corporate world, I still have to answer that $1 million second.
Yes,
So
sir.
it's based on a little story. So first I have told you that we understood the value of time. But when I came into the corporate world, I was surprised that in the corporate world, nobody cares about time. So we started a camp and a corporate company people would come in a bus. And if they were supposed to reach at 9, they would reach at 10. 1 hour gone. Out of the 6 hours of training they're going to do, if it was 1 day's training, 1 hour is lost, doesn't matter, right? When they come out of the bus, they're holding hands and talking leisurely. There's no sense of urgency that you're late. Can I hurry up a little? No. Now they come, they have their breakfast, they take more time than they should take for breakfast, and now we started. Every time I told people, why can't you come on time? And I found the HR was equally disinterested. There was nobody in the company who was taking time seriously. So I started writing all this, that what was I doing in the army about time and what is this happening? So all those little writings, I started putting them together and I said, one day I'll write a book on this. But when I was ready and when I became a speaker and a trainer and people said, you must have a book for your credibility and all, that is the time I said, let me write a book on time management. And then I remembered a story that after Kargil war, I was traveling in a train and there was a young captain who had taken part. No, I had not taken part in Kargil war. I was posted in Shimla that time. So, while being, exchanging ideas and experiences and all, I said, where all have you served and all. So he said, I fought the Kargil war. He said, I'll be interested in knowing some more things about tell me something and all. So he said, sir, I almost died. And how I survived was a miracle. He said, tell me what happened. So he said, sir, we had captured a enemy post. So normally the attack goes in after midnight. So 4 o'clock, it is absolutely dark. We have captured the physically the post, and the enemy is fled. Some dead bodies are lying there because before you go and capture an infantry, there is artillery fire, there is air power. You pound the objective, which means you soften the target, which means you break their morale. You don't want them to put their head up because if they put their head up and fire at you, they have aimed fire. And aimed fire means more people will die. But if they are firing in the air, few people will die. So the idea is to confuse them and not being able to have aimed fire. So now when all that happens, when you go there, now you have to do you scan and see कोई बच तो नहीं गया. हो सकता है कोई बचा कुचा बंदा है. Then if you've seen, like if you saw, which that movie Shah Rukh Khan ki, what is that movie? First movie में army का क्या था?
Jawan.
Sorry?
Jawan.
नहीं, not Jawan क्या था? I'm forgetting the name. Anyway, so in that you see Shah Rukh Khan training that there's a bayonet, a knife-looking thing in front of the rifle or the stain gun.
Fauji.
And huh?
Fauji.
Fauji,
Fauji.
yeah. So he goes and pierces that knife into a little sack, which is a target. So unless you do that, you build up your Josh, you run and say, "Dhawa." Till you do that, till you build up that little thing, your normal body force is not strong enough to pierce even 1 inch into the body of a man. So you have to learn this. So he now was going around looking. And then suddenly, from behind a tree, a tall enemy captain stands in front of him. His Stain gun is pointing towards me, and mine is pointing towards him, and we are standing just 1 meter away. He says, I realize that now only one of us can survive. The one who will press the trigger first. And he says, "Sir, I'm telling you all this in so much of time, but there was no time to think. There was no time to ask for advice. There was no time for anything. It was time to act. I pressed the trigger and he fell on my feet. And he said, Mom. And he died. He said, I saw him dying at my feet. I felt very bad. And I looked down on him and I said to myself, what if he had pressed the trigger 1 second earlier? Then I would have been lying down there and crying for my mother the way he's done now. And I said to myself, isn't that 1 second equal to millions of dollars? And that's where the title came.
I am like speechless to explain this story, how much it has touched my heart. Like that trigger which happened, and he said, "Ma tujhe salam," and you have written this book. To all of you, this book is available on Amazon. Sir, it's not available, sir, now?
So this is the book, but
Okay.
unfortunately, it was published by CNBC and
Hmm.
endorsed by Brian Tracy.
Hmm.
But now the publisher has shut its book publishing division, and the book is no longer. I am rewriting it. For all those who want, if they write to me, I send them a PDF.
So, sir, we can connect with sir. I would share you the email ID of sir. We can do that, sir, and then they can connect.
Email ID or even WhatsApp number, I'm okay with that also.
Okay, I would share the LinkedIn Connect also. On Instagram handle, sir is there on Instagram also. I will share
I am there
across.
on all social media other than Snapchat and TikTok.
Lovely, sir. So we are moving towards our last segment of this live, where we are moving to an interesting rapid fire round. So I want you to make it very fast and interesting for the audience, and I want
Yes,
you.
I'm
Yes,
ready. Yes.
yes. So one corporate word you want to ban forever in the corporate life.
Indiscipline.
Okay, very well put, sir. Fill in the blank. My team thinks I am dash, but I actually think I am dash.
My team thinks I'm very strict, but actually I'm very welfare oriented, concerned person.
Okay, lovely, sir. Okay, this one we all want to know. You want Delhi wale parathe, or you want Mumbai wali pav bhaji, or South Indian dosa? What will you put? Think?
Nothing will beat Delhi ke parante.
Ah, lovely. Delhi wale parathe. Nice. Okay, one word. What is leadership? One single word.
Influence.
Influence.
Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, so from this word which you have spoken about influence, and you have that influence when you walk into a room. I have seen this personally. So, sir has that authority, that credibility, and that aura which he carries with himself. I want to ask you, is presence built in one day, or you can build it step by step? What do you want to say?
Before I come to this, let me just tell you something when I talk about influence. And that is why I say that military leadership is the mother of all leaderships. See,
Mhm.
no other leader, all leaders, whether they are political leaders, sports leaders, IAS people, I mean, like administrative people, whatever leader in the world, any type, no leader other than the army leader, or I'll say the defense forces leaders, have a task of taking their teams and operating in the toughest of terrains and in the toughest of weather conditions. Whether you are in Pokhran at 52 degrees Celsius or you're in Siachen, where the temperature around is about 5 degrees lower than the temperature of your freezer in the fridge.
Right.
Try putting your hand in the freezer for more than a minute, and we live in that area. Okay. So, is there any other leader in any walk of life who makes people do that? And then you lead your people into combat where you know that there's a good, very, very good, high probability of your losing your limbs or even your life. And when a leader can influence people to say, "Come with me, let's go," and they don't run away because everyone is fearful of death. Nobody says, "I don't fear death." But what makes them overcome that fear and lay down there? Why can Vikram Batra say, "Ye dil mange more"? Let's go again. What makes them do it? That is the influence of a leader.
So, can it be built in one day, or it takes years?
It takes years, and firstly, it is not built externally, it is built internally. And
Right.
let me tell you one thing, leadership begins with one thing. It is called self leadership. Okay, self leadership. And self leadership comes from self discipline. And what is self discipline? A simple definition. There are two, three definitions. I mixed them up and coined my own. And I say self discipline is doing what you ought to do even when you don't feel like doing it, when nobody's watching.
True.
That is self discipline.
True.
So it all starts there. The presence, when we talk about the presence, it is not, a lot of people think executive presence is the type of clothes you're wearing and the type of erect body that you have. None of that. Presence is an internal feeling of certainty and confidence. That is what creates the presence.
Lovely, sir.
I've known of trainers, pardon my saying so, young boys and girls who say, "I'm an executive coach." And what do? They only, image consultants, some of them I'll tell you, they're only telling people how to conduct themselves, what colors to wear. I've already seen in some training programs, I saw modules where there were 40 slides of what color to wear, what suit to have, what tie, and they call that executive presence. And I want to correct them all. That's not executive presence. That is a very small portion of it. But it is an internal feeling and confidence that you have. And people, they don't they don't see your designations. Your teams will be able to read that confidence.
Very
When
well.
you speak, they get to know whether how strongly you believe what you're saying, or have you been told by your boss to say that? Is it my word or am I speaking somebody else's words? And that is where leaders get distinguished.
Let's come to our next question. Best advice someone ever gave you in one line.
Live the life you wanted.
Oh, lovely. One thing you want to
And
be
let me tell you
remembered.
one thing. I've derived from there and tell all my youngsters, and this could be a good time to tell people who are looking forward to living a good life who are young, that as soon as you can, as soon as you can, some people say 30, at the age of 30, at the age of 40, at the age of 50, whatever is the earliest, if you can become a person who works because you love to and not because you have to, life becomes worth. And it happened with me when I left the army voluntarily. I had 5 years to go. I could have been a general, retired general sitting today, but I have chosen to switch my gears or right step on the another track and come and serve the youth. And I'm doing that so I don't have to work at all. My finances and all are taken care of. I'm financially free. I don't work because I have to. I work because I love.
Yes. Lovely, sir. Okay. One thing you want to be remembered for.
For being human. That's it.
Okay. Now, this is a very interesting question. And
Are you
simple.
threatening me?
No, sir. And you'll be able to answer it very well. I know that. A plane has crashed. Okay. Somewhere in the Amazon forest, a plane has crashed. Only 6 people have survived. There is one is you, there is a marketing executive, there is a wildlife expert, there is a pilot, there is a nurse, and there is an army officer. Now you have to pick one person, but you cannot pick yourself. Who will you save and why?
The army officer.
Please tell why.
Because I feel that an army officer has traits of all these people. If you're a good army officer, you are caring like a nurse. You, we live our life through wildlife. We know what wildlife is. We are very adaptable to all types of situations which the army teaches us. So this one army officer will be able to do almost everything that the other five can do.
Lovely, lovely, sir. So this comes to the end of our conversation today. And I want all the audience to throw some hearts and share your love that you really enjoyed the session. You can put your questions in the comment box. We'll still wait for another 1 minute. Before, sir, you can write down your any book handle which you want to share across if it is there, or I can do it later on. What would you prefer, sir?
Yeah, so actually, if you can go on my link tree, so it is link tree, linktr .ee/Sushil Bhasin, one word.
Link tr slash
linktr
yes
.ee slash
yes.
Sushil Bhasin.
So is it right?
I can't see. Let me. I'll have to just move it up a little. No, I can't. I can't even scroll it. Now I can see. Yeah. No. linktr. No. tr dot ee double e.
Double E. Okay, sir.
Rest is okay.
It's double E slash Sushil Bhasin.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. I would be very happy if anyone asks any questions and I can answer them. And I would like to thank that 24-year-old boy who asked that question. Thank you for that question. And
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
very open to. So I'll just give you one thing that I told you my book got converted into this podcast called Zindagi Unplugged. I had an Instagram account which my team used to handle, but I had never been on it. I didn't know what Instagram was. And this girl who had hosted me in that podcast, her name is Shruti Bhola, and she is a RJ. I mean, she was the one who made my podcast really the way it became. And she told me one day, sir, a lot of people are following you on, they're commenting on Instagram, you're not even answering them. So I said, वो कैसे करते हैं? So then I learned from her. I started coming to Instagram, and my followership started with Zindagi Unplugged. And today also, there are many people who have come because in Zindagi Unplugged, we used to tell them that you can come on Instagram, ask for a session, and I will do a Zoom call for 20 minutes free of cost for anyone who comes through Zindagi Unplugged and wants to know, because that was a podcast and we wanted to see, can we extend it to any personal development or any personal issue that people have which was not covered in the overall episode. So I made lots and lots of, and I love to have friends who are young people because I came out of the army for them. I just fallen in love, and that's also my second TEDx talk. I gave you that link. I would
Yes.
like you to share that also with
I will
people
share that. Yes, sir.
because that is, otherwise you can just go to YouTube and say Sushil Bhasin TEDx, and you will find you will find five talks. One of them you'll not find, it was, never came on YouTube. So in that you will find the purpose of life. So I found the purpose of my life at the age of 52 when I decided to leave the army and look after youth. So youth has been and always is my soft corner. Even if I am in a party or elsewhere, I like to interact with young people. I think my age people are boring.
But we love to interact with people like you, sir. It is always so much to learn from you. Always.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we had a wonderful conversation today with none other than the man himself who has played with strategy under fire and today he is doing in boardrooms. And he's a wonderful coach, a wonderful mentor. He has been with people like authors like Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, and many others. So, kudos to you, sir, to be there on this show behind the title A Leadership Series. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.